Hey, I'm Jocelyn, and today we're going to make a Portuguese dish called Frango da Avo. Frango da Avo translates to grandma's chicken, and for every grandma out there, there's a different recipe, but this is the one that I learned in Portugal, and I really love it. It's super simple, it's really rich, and it's great to feed a crowd, and it's not terribly expensive, so we'll just get going. These are all the ingredients that you need for the entire thing. It's dry onion soup mix, boneless, skinless chicken, and you can do breasts or you can do thighs, whatever's cheapest, whatever's just available, that's what you need. And then heavy cream. Yes, this is a fattening dish, but you're eating chicken, right? So there's not much fat there, right? So we're evening it out, maybe not. Anyway, so I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna go rinse my chicken and kind of pat it dry, and then I'll stick it in this bowl and we'll get started. Okay, so I've got my chicken, it's been rinsed. Where I could grasp the extra fat, I did pull it off. That's not terribly necessary, but you know, if you want to. So what I'm gonna do with these are like massive chickens. I don't know what kind of chicken makes that kind of chicken breast, but that's like Dolly Parton chicken breasts. So we're just gonna cut these into what I think are more manageable pieces. I don't know, I'm thinking about the people that are eating this and like what a serving looks like. So we're just, maybe thirds. I think that looks pretty good. And I'm actually gonna throw this back in this bowl because I am going to dress the chicken in that. This is a little more manageable size. Not quite Dolly Parton. Just gonna set that in there. By the way, I think she's kind of the most fabulous person. She's such a good human being. She does good work for all sorts of people. All right, so we got our chicken. I'm gonna throw that in there. I'm gonna go wash the chicken guts. Okay, chicken guts are gone. So I've got my chicken here, and all we're gonna do is really easy, dress it with this. This is just dry onion soup mix. You're gonna take a packet, maybe two, depending on how much flavor you want. I'm gonna do about a packet and a half just for the amount of chicken that I have here. The thing is, this stuff is like loaded with sodium. So I kind of run it through a sieve or a sieve, depending on where you're from. And I just sort of shake out some, not all, but some of this brown stuff, because that's where all the salt is, which is why I'm gonna use, you know what? I think I'm gonna use 2 packets. Get rid of a little of that extra stuff in there, trying to make this a little bit more healthy. I'm not always very good at that though. All right, so we're gonna dump that in there, and you know what? I love to use my hands and get really messy and dirty, so I will just rub this chicken, make sure it's well coated, and if it's not coated enough, I'll add some more. But this looks like this is pretty much perfect. So once you get this nicely coated, just set it in your pan. I typically use a glass pan, but I'm at my mother-in-law's. By the way, this is a great thing to make when you're in someone else's kitchen because it's easy. So I don't know, I often find myself at my mom's or my mother-in-law's or one of my sisters or at friends' houses, and we're all cooking together. This is one of those nice, easy recipes that you can do with just about anyone. So thank you, Portugal, for giving me this recipe. Here we go. Also, thank you for giving me my son. Our youngest was born when we were living in Lisbon, so this is like a special meal to him. So we'll just put those pieces in there. And I'll get these little extra bits and throw them on top. That's good. All right, so I told you this was going to be a really flavorful but easy dish, and it is. Next step is your last step. Well, not really. Last step is putting it in the oven, right? So I'm just going to pour heavy cream in, and about half a quart, maybe a little bit more is about appropriate. I sort of pour it in so I'm not rinsing all the stuff off. But what happens is all this stuff is going to cook down. It's going to make the most wonderful sort of gravy, saucy stuff. And you're going to serve this over rice with a side of fries. Because in Portugal, if you go to Portugal for a week, Most, let's say you have 10 dinners. 8 will have a side of fries and a side of rice. Sometimes 2 sides of fries. It's just the way they do it. Actually, I really kind of love it. Good homemade fries, which I am going to show you how to make in just a bit. So that's it. I don't have to cover it completely. You can kind of see that, I mean, it's definitely up about halfway on the chicken, but doesn't have to cover it. You know what? I've only got a dibby dab in here. I'm just going to go ahead and pour that in. So that's it. Now we're going to throw it in the oven until the chicken reads 165 with a thermometer. You know, when you take temperatures, put it in the middle of the middle, and you know, don't let it touch the edges or anything like that. Get that center read on it. Once that's 165, it's all ready. There we go. Okay, so I've peeled my potatoes. I've cut them down into relatively French fry-ish size, and I put them in the oven just to sort of start that cooking process, and I'm gonna ask my mother-in-law, Kathy, to come and help me with the fryer. Okay, so this is Kathy, my mother-in-law. Say hello.
Hello.
Hey, we're kind of wearing matching shirts.
I know.
We do
that
things
was not
like
intentional,
that. We do things like that on occasion. So she's got this little cool electric skillet. I know, you call it a skillet. I think of it as a fryer because you always make your wonderful fried chicken in it.
Oh.
So in my mind, it's somehow a fryer. But we've got it on. We've got
it will work that way.
We're plugging it in, and we're just gonna put the oil in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, you want to put that to go along with our gigantic bag of rice that Mark bought. He bought us a really tiny bottle of vegetable oil, so we're gonna hope that this is enough. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be good. We might have to cook in batches, but we'll be okay.
No stress, Mark.
That's good. This is a really good thing to cook in a silk shirt, isn't it? I'm so smart.
Yeah, probably not with silk. Cotton. An apron would work well.
So when I worked in restaurants, I learned several wonderful tricks in the kitchen, and one of them was that if you get a grease spot, immediately put flour on it, because the flour will soak up the grease and kind of helps later when you have to go back and take a stain out. So flour is always kind of out at my house, or easy to grab, because it's also really good if you burn yourself. You can stick your hand in that really quickly and it takes the heat out. Of course, you still need to use cool water and things like that, but stick your hand, and if I actually have a jar called hand flour, and that's where I shove my hand when I burn it, because it happens. No matter how good you are, it happens. Mark and the boys and I are here visiting Grandma and Grandpa, but so's our dog. So if we splash, Brigadier will come and clean it up for us.
That's great.
Okay, so we've got our first batch of fries done, and well, semi-done, and we've got our second batch in, and we talk a lot about like cuts being proper and things like that. Part of that too, to make things cook well, like when I'm frying these French fries, because they're not in a fry daddy, if you're frying in this kind of electric skillet or just a regular skillet on the stove top, keeping them all sort of going the same direction helps them to cook more evenly, just like good cuts cook more evenly. It's the same thing. Just save yourself a little bit of time, so when you put them in, they're all in the same pattern. It kind of makes it a little bit easier on you later. So while these are cooking, I'm going to pull out my chicken so you can see where it's at. It's about halfway done is my guess right now. Alrighty, there's my chicken. It's looking really pretty, but it's not ready, and I can tell that because it's really runny. So we're just gonna let it cook, and I'm cooking this uncovered the whole time. And I think, if you don't mind my stealing these, I'm gonna turn these puppies over. Just get that yummy, saucy stuff all over the whole thing. Also, it will add a little more flavor to the cream that's surrounding them.
They were so beautiful.
They were, and you know what? If you care about that, go ahead, leave them up that way. I don't care about that. For me, it's all about the flavor.
Sauce.
Right. I love that sauce. I could bathe in that sauce.
Careful.
I won't bathe in the sauce though, I promise. All right, so I'm gonna throw these in for about another 10, 12 minutes. The chicken's probably getting pretty close to done. I'm gonna just, yeah, it's a little underdone yet, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll just throw it in for a little bit longer and get that sauce cooking down. So we have been cooking these for what feels like an hour, but our chicken's getting pretty close to done, and these are getting nice and beautiful and golden. I don't know if you can see these beautiful nuggets. Whoop, there went one back into the fryer. Okay, so I'm gonna check my chicken. It should be pretty close to done. I grabbed a meat thermometer, and I'm just gonna see what the temperature is. I'm gonna guess it's done. It's just whether or not that sauce is ready to go right now. Ooh, no, sauce looks really good. All right. So while I'm messing with this, I'm going to take my fries, see if I can be like a magician, and dump them out. Kind of spread them out a little bit, and I'm going to throw them in the oven just to kind of keep them warm. So we will take a read on my chicken in the middle of the middle. It's a very big important thing. This is a really slow thermometer.
Well, you know, it gets a workout several times a year. Probably for turkey. That may be why the experienced one
is so brown.
Yeah.
It's been in the oven a lot. So you leave yours in while it's in the oven. I always just take mine after a while. All right, so we'll let that sit and wait for it to go. Oh, that one's going a lot faster.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why that one looks like it's been used. It has.
That's because it's good. Okay, so this is at 155-ish. So I'm going to throw it back in the oven for a little bit. We want poultry to get to 165. So I'm going to throw that in there and underneath the fries and just wait a little bit longer and dinner will be ready. Okay, since I now have two things in the oven at the same time, I'm gonna boost my temperature in the oven just a little bit. Right now it's at 375. I'm gonna pump it up to 400, just because when you have multiple things in an at-home oven, commercial ovens it's a little different, but at home you want to kind of crank that up just a little bit more and keep an eye on it, but it'll help things cook a little bit better. Okay, so I think everything is pretty well ready. So I'm gonna pull out my French fries first. I'm gonna give my chicken an extra couple of minutes because I know that's not gonna hurt. Let that sauce get a little bit thicker. I'm gonna pull these puppies out. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Look at those gorgeous things. Aren't they amazing? Don't you want to eat those? I am gonna salt them just a teeny weeny bit because quite frankly, even though our men are not huge salt people, they'll have a cow if there's nothing on them. So I just put a little bit on them. And I'm gonna go ahead and transfer those to a serving dish. Oh, so nice.
Beautiful.
We did good, Kath.
We did. They look beautiful.
They taste good too. As we know, everything in Portugal is rice and fries and rice, right? Not everything. They do have vegetables and things like that, don't get me wrong. You always get a salad with your fish.
Oh, okay.
Always, always. But predominantly these are the sides, and you'll find incredible stuff. And Lisbon lately, really especially, has been growing with tourism and stuff. So they've been expanding their palate. But the Portuguese, it doesn't matter. They have really good food. And
yes, they do.
so we're going to do the rice. We're gonna just put this in our serving dish. It's just plain white rice, didn't do anything fancy to it. I cooked it, put a little bit of butter in it.
And it was,
Made a little mess too.
It was plain rice, a lot of it.
Yeah, that 17,000 pound
bag.
All right, I don't know where Brigadier went, but he'll come and pick that up for us in a little bit. All right, so our chicken is ready. It is at temperature. Actually, it's a little bit above temperature, so we're just going to take these bits of chicken, nestle them into our rice a little bit. Right.
Very nice one dish meal, actually.
It really is. And, you know, you can serve it with vegetables or just whatever floats your boat. Have a salad. We actually had some leftover coleslaw that we need to get rid of, so we're having that. And I actually think that is a great thing to have next to it because it's light and a little acidic, and this is really rich and creamy, and I think that those two things
plus with our French fries,
they'll be a good
looks beautiful.
All right, just stick those right in there.
Well, maybe I should wait until you pour the sauce.
Yeah, let's do that. And actually, can you scrape for me? Be ready to scrape.
Okay.
Because I want every bit of the ooey gooey. Hang on, wait, don't scrape yet. Let me just pour the good stuff out. All right, so.
Sure glad we've got a rim on that plate.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so you can see I've poured out the liquid, but all the onion stuff is down in the bottom. So Kathy's gonna help me scrape that out and plop it on. Yeah, you definitely need a serving dish with some kind of lip or rim because this can get a little messy. And if you don't like it this saucy, I think that this sauce is so good. So I make mine a little bit more runny, but feel free to cook it down more or to use, like I used about half a quart. You can use less than that. And that's fine too. I'm all about people changing recipes to suit their own taste because we definitely all have them. I'm happy. Are you happy?
It looks beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So we will put this out on the table and call our men folk and we will have some dinner. Join us, will ya? Everything is ready. We are having a very Portuguese dinner tonight with Frango da Avo and served on rice, and then some French fries, homemade fries, and my mother-in-law's wonderful coleslaw, which she has to give me the recipe for soon because it's really tasty.
Looks marvelous.
It does. It looks good. It smells like Portugal. I'm very happy to dig in. So I hope that you make this at home. It's such a simple meal, and it's really great when you've got to feed a crowd. And it doesn't really take a whole lot of effort. So, bon appetit.